Hello everyone. Today I wanted to make a video response for a video Dakota Meyer put out called Transitioning Out of the Military, or actually, Transitioning Out of the Military. Dakota Meyer on Transitioning Out of the Military is what it's called. But just he kind of asked some of his viewers to, I guess, describe their experience, maybe. And I don't know if a video response is adequate, but I feel like it'd probably do justice. But, so, for those who may or may not know, I served 4.5 years in the U.S. Army infantry, as light infantry, with 4th ID, based out of Fort Carson, Colorado. I did my 4.5 years, included tour to Afghanistan. Didn't go back for a second tour because in 2012 they ended stop loss, and so didn't go back. And then I didn't voluntarily extend. I just wanted to go and serve out, do my ETS, and then just go and start civilian life. But with regards to civilian life, the transition has been kind of eventful, to say the least. So me, my wife, my now wife, and I started dating about the time I was getting out of the Army. And so when I got out, me and her were pretty serious by that point. And so I moved in with her and her family and stuff, and pursued the college route. I started at CSU Pueblo, and then I transferred up to CSU in Fort Collins, Colorado State, to be more specific, to pursue a degree in forestry. And it hadn't been easy, for sure, because I had to leave Amanda every summer to go to work for the U.S. Forest Service. During the off season, I cut firewood and did fire mitigation projects, and a lot of hard manual labor. And there were some pretty low points, to be honest with you. There was a lot of things that there's times that I wasn't sure, if I was able to go and, fulfill everything I want to do, in terms of going to school for forestry and becoming a full-fledged forester and everything. But I managed to pull it off, even though it was difficult. Excuse my dog; he is playing with a cold pizza box. But yeah, it wasn't easy, and but I never expected things to be handed to me. But at the same token, I have found myself fairly envious of people from time to time, because even before the Army, it seems like I had to work for everything I have. I don't have much in this, with everything, but what I have, I've earned, I've worked for. And when I got out, it seemed that a lot of kids that I knew, they were just being handed stuff left and right. Part of the reason I went to the military to begin with is so I could afford college. I'm going to be completely honest in that fact. There's other reasons, like me wanting to serve my country and everything, and me wanting to get out of small town New Mexico and go do something with my life bigger and better than myself. But I also knew that the military had its benefits, and I knew that education was one of them. And as somebody who was serious about going to college but did not have the financial means to do so, decided, hey, the military, with everything, considered, is right for me. And but when I got out, I saw a lot of these kids. They're just getting handed shit. They're entitled, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Because it feels like I did not. I busted my ass for 4 years. I busted my ass. Traveling away from my family, even after I got out. Like I mentioned, going working seasonally for the U.S. Forest Service, or working manual labor, doing cut and selling firewood during the winter, or building fence for ranchers, or doing wildfire mitigation projects in rural Colorado. Just making a living by a chainsaw. By running a chainsaw. And then you see these kids that they're just handed crap. They're handed all these scholarships. They're handed, and then they expect you to kiss their asses, and that's something that I have had. And not everybody's like that. I'm going to say, and there's probably very few, but one thing that did make it challenging was the fact that not everybody was on the same page with me in terms of my values and everything like that. For example, in the military, we're, it's beat into us over and over again. The principles of leadership, loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. And those are, values that I live by, even to this day. Do I completely fulfill those values? I do the best I can, but I'm sure there's always room for improvement. That's why they're called values. That's why they're called standards, is that, you have something to strive for to make yourself better. But not a lot of people were on the same page with that, especially the leadership component of, selfless service, putting, others before yourself. That's something that kind of, made it kind of challenging for me, because I had a number of supervisors since I've gotten out that did not fully embrace that, and therefore I had some conflicts, with a couple supervisors, and I'm not saying I had some pretty good bosses, but it's, you got shitty bosses and you got good bosses, and it's just how how it is. But anyhow, if so, going back to the idea of being on the same page, I'm expecting people to have standards. They have the same set of standards and values and such that I do, but they don't, and that's a shame. I guess. I guess you can say that diversity is strength or whatever, but but I thought, no, maybe, if we're all on the same page, then maybe, we can, get down to the nuts and bolts of the mission and trying to, do whatever's in front of you, have it be managing, forests, or, going on patrol in Afghanistan. I thought, that's the basic principle of everything is, is you being on the same page with everybody, is that you guys know, everybody's thoughts, and you got, the course of action, the plan, and then you can come together and, as part of your individual role, or, contribute to a larger role to accomplish a given objective or mission. But, then there, and, even now, the transition out of the military has not been the absolute smoothest thing. I'm barely in the swing of my career, I guess you can say. I work as a forester now, but, and I just barely got my new job, and we'll be moving to southern Colorado in a couple months for that position. But I'm 28 years old, or 29 now. And sometimes I feel like I'm still kind of playing catch up. And that's one thing that I've experienced, and probably that's part of it is because I'm a vet. It's like I spent 4.5 years in the Army, and That's 4.5 years that I wasn't in the civilian world. That's 4.5 years that I was kind of disconnected from the civilian world, and you know, and now I'm kind of having to, you know, I'm kind of on the same footing as a lot of kids that I went to college with, and I think as a veteran, you're going to have to work just as hard, probably maybe twice as hard, to do anything. I mean, yeah, it sucks, you know, yeah, you know, it might not be right, but that's the way it is. And as Dakota Meyer pointed out in his video, you know, we shouldn't be expected to be handed shit, because that's not who we are. You know, we, like I said before, we hold ourselves to a higher standard, and with that higher standard, you know, we have to, you know, that's what makes us better. You know, is if we're going around expecting crap, then that's not going to make us any different than all these, you know, whiny crybabies that you see on the news, and that drive, you know, any sane person up a wall. But you know, once again, I guess that's probably the best thing I can say in terms of a video response. I'm you know, I'm not a man of eloquent words, but figure I'd maybe let my viewers and maybe whoever else stumbles across this video get a little bit of insight to my personal life as a veteran, and hopefully this might be some kind of encouragement to another veteran out there. That's how I was 5 years ago, and getting out of the military. But once again, thanks again for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks.